Welcome. Ready to talk about Phoenix. Oh, man. Daylight savings time has me quite tired. How's everybody doing today? Will Christopher Bell win his third race in a row after winning at COTA last week? Shout out Todd Gilliland for that top 10 last week, 11-1. It's nice to hit. Nice to hit Christopher Bell live, 6-1. It's always good when you start the year off hot with your bets. I agree. Daylight savings time, just I don't like it. I'm fully behind abolishing it. Let's get rid of it. Give people some more time to get in here. We'll talk about Phoenix, break this slate down, build some lineups. There's lots of ways to go this week. Quite a bit of chalk, which isn't the best, but we'll deal with it. If you saw my tweet, Link's picks to win, my dog, his picks to win today based on the fortune cookie that he ate were, did I not tweet it? Where's it at? There we go. Larson, Hamlin, Josh Berry, and Austin Cindric. All right. 3P day. It's hard to bet against Christopher Bell today. We talked earlier in the week, or I tweeted out earlier in the week, where does Bell have to be for people to auto bet him? Some people said 5-1, some people said 6-1. I think you can get him 7-1 this morning. I think books are overreacting a little bit to practice and qualifying. Plus 750 for Bell today at FanDuel. If I had to make a bet right now outright, that might be it. I think you can get Byron at 850 too. Byron looked good. Byron looked good in practice. Let me tell you. Here, let's just do this quick. Finding the heat chart quick, and we'll go over that. As always, thank you to me. Share my screen here. Here we go. As always, thank you to iFantasy Race for allowing me to quickly grab the heat charts like this, so I don't have to do it. Fords looked really good in practice, as always. Their tire fall off is a crazy when it comes to when there's actual tire fall off. So with Phoenix, it's now more of a mid wear track. We're not in the high wear category like Richmond or anything, but there is some wear at Phoenix. Obviously, we have the prime tire and the option tire, or the whatever they're calling it today. Option tires are faster, but they did not fall off like many were expecting them to. A lot of people were expecting them to basically, completely fall off after 30 laps. And basically what was happening was the car was still fast. They're just faster on the option tire, and it wasn't wearing. So the unfortunate thing with that and with these different tires is we cannot predict the strategy for these teams and what they're going to do. A poorly timed caution or a well-timed caution for a team that's gambling could be the difference in who wins this race. And that's why I'm not I have bets out there. I think I found some good value on the betting board this week. I'm happy with it. But at the same time, I'm kind of more interested in seeing how live lines move and adjusting based on that. Phoenix has been a great track for me in regards to betting. Fantasy wise, it used to be a real struggle for me. Lately I've been better. I've been pretty good at Phoenix. Obviously past success does not guarantee any results, but the Rotoballer subscriber last year took down the 100,000 last year at Phoenix in this race. And it was simple. You played Toyota. Like it was a very simple, Toyota was fast all weekend. And they between, 4 or 5 of them, they led a good portion of that race, between Reddick and Hamlin, and Ty Gibbs got up there and led. I remember that race well. Nick was very high on Gibbs that race. I really wasn't, and Gibbs went out and led 70 laps. So, yeah. So last year definitely good at Phoenix. Christopher Bell kicked the shit out of everybody at the end, and it wouldn't be surprising if that happened again this weekend. Maxed out the lug and the mini max. Let's go. Heck yeah. Let's build some lineups. Favorite dark horse, man. We'll get to that in a little bit. We'll kind of go through this as I get it. Top 10 lap leader on Caesars. So I saw Greg Mathern tweet, or I got a notification of that he bet that on Action. Let me check those lines. I haven't really looked at them yet. Lap 10 lap leader. Yeah, I think he got Byron at plus 120, which is just nuts. If anything, I think maybe if you want to sprinkle on Logano at plus 180, if you think Logano gets around Byron early, we could see that like we saw last year with Gibbs getting ahead early. And that's gonna be a decision you have to make with DFS this week too, is if you go Byron or Logano. They both have really good cars. Obviously the Fords are going to be really strong. It's going to be who gets the good start and starts leading. All right. Up here. How deep in the field do you realistically go for highest starting driver? How deep in the field? Maybe I'm misreading this question, but to me, like, everybody's on the table. I think Byron's going to lead a good chunk of laps here from the pole. Logano could lead. Who else is up there? Josh Berry, Carson Hocevar, those could be some outside dominators, but probably not. Eric Jones probably ain't going to stay up there very long. If he does, it's like he's not going to dominate. But yeah, Byron's a good play, as is Logano. I missed anybody. McDowell's like a sneaky play. Same with Hocevar. Spire brought speed once again this weekend. Who starts 8th? Oh, Haley. Yeah, so then after the top 2, probably, maybe if that's what you're asking, yeah, Reddick might get up there, but I don't know if I'll even get to Reddick this week. There we go. Okay. Maybe worded that wrong. If you're fading the guys up front, where are you looking? Not some high dominator. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I got you now. I agree. It's going to be really difficult for me to fade the guys up front. Byron's car the Hendrick cars are really good. Were really good this weekend in practice. Now, we have to take practice with a little bit of a grain of salt, because we didn't really know who was on what tire. It's really hard to analyze that. It's really hard to break it down. But what we do know is Byron's fall off looked really good. Byron's overall speed looked really good, as did Kyle Larson's. Chase Elliott was up there as well. Bowman is Bowman at Phoenix. He's not that good here, but if he can get you a top 15 today, starting 32nd, he's going to hit at $7,800. He's going to hit. But I truly, I with it being so hard to pass here at Phoenix, I think you need one, maybe even both of Logano or Byron. I do. Yes, there's an outside chance that that some of these other guys up there lead. Maybe a Hocevar, maybe a Barry. But you got to think, if they're going to lead, they're going to have to get past Byron and Logano. And unless those two take each other out on lap one, I just don't see it happening. So I do think I think Byron is going to lead, or Logano are going to lead a significant number of laps. And I do not think it's a good idea to fade them. And then I think we'll see, and then that's how you'll build the rest of your lineup. So I think you need the early Dominator, Logano or Byron, and then you'll have your later Dominator, whether that be Bell, Blaney, Larson, someone like that. I think that's how we're going to have to build this week. And that's how you're going to get your two Dominators. Yeah, so if you're only building 10, 20 lineups, yeah, I think Byron or Logano is a lock in every one of those lineups. I really do. And maybe a few with both. It's not too crazy to see two high starting Dominators here. If you look at, if you read my article this week, I mentioned the pole sitter here at Byron, excuse me, here at Phoenix in the next gen era. So 6 races. We have 6 races with this next gen car. The pole sitter has led an average of 117.2 laps per race, and the only pole sitter not to lead at least 68 laps was Truex last fall, which was the championship race, which is always kind of, wishy-washy. Plus, it was Truex. He didn't really give a shit. That was his last race. He was done. So an average of 117 laps per race led by the pole sitter in the next gen era. Obviously, this option tire can throw strategy into it. We can see differences, but the fact of the matter is the guys that start up front grab Dominator points for sure. Jake, curious why? I'm very curious why. Outside of, them getting wrecked. But with this being a mile track, you gotta prioritize in 312 laps, you gotta prioritize Dominator points. So if you want to make an argument in the comments, go ahead. I'll gladly hear it. Because I'm curious your thoughts there. Yeah. Hocevar could take out Logano and Byron in turn one. That's certainly true. For sure. But getting back to this heat chart again, thank you iFantasy Race for providing this. Looking at some of these numbers, Byron very strong over the long run, clearly has short run speed since he won the pole. Blaney to me looked to have the best tire fall off on the long run. He is going to, one, he's going to rack up fastest laps, and two, he's going to just make his way through the field as he typically does. But as we normally see, the Penske cars do not have the best short run speed. So they prioritize long run speed. And Glenn, I'll just throw your comment on here as I'm talking about Blaney. Penske cars historically do not prioritize short run speed. So what happens is when you have a guy like Blaney starting 11th, he's going to stick in he's going to need a long green flag run to get up there. And typically we see those at Phoenix, so it's fine. That's why he has, 4 top 2 or 4 second place finishes in the last 5 races here or something. But they prioritize long run speed, and they're really good at it. And the Fords generally, when we look at mid to high tire wear races with this next gen car, the Fords are the best when it comes to that. When it comes to long run speed, when tire wear comes into play. So, sorry, I had a text message. I had to check it. But the Fords are better. So keep that in mind with guys like, Logano starting up front means he should be able to maintain his track position because their short run speed isn't awful enough that they lose track position. But Logano should be able to maintain track position. Now, will he have the speed like Blaney does over the super long run to get ahead of Byron and then lead those laps? That's going to be the hard part to try to figure out here. Also, is Byron fast enough just to be faster than him and have that? So if you think about it, green flag goes. Byron has better green flag speed or better short run speed than Logano. Okay, let's say he's at. This is not an accurate number. I'm just throwing numbers out here. Let's say he's a tenth of a lap faster than Logano for the first 15, 20 laps. Okay, that means during that time, Byron is building a 1.5 to 2 second lead over Logano just on the short run. Now, let's say Logano has a better long run car. His lap times are better after 30 laps. And he is now, let's say he's not a 10th. I doubt he's a 10th because, there's going to be a crossover here somewhere where Logano has better lap times than Byron on the long run. But he now has to make up that gap of the short run speed that Byron had where he produced that 1.5 to 2 second lead over Logano. Now, will the gap between their later laps after 30 laps, let's say, be enough for Logano to catch and pass Byron? That's the interesting thing when it comes to these Fords, versus these Chevys and the long run speed, and how Chevy has really good short run speed and pretty good long run speed, whereas Ford has decent short run speed but really good long run speed. And then it's going to come down into how long are these green flag runs going to last? When are the cautions going to fly? Again, stuff that we can't really predict, but just stuff to consider this weekend in your mind when you're building these lineups, when you're trying to determine the Dominators. That's why I'm so high on Byron today. Okay. No, I understand that. I understand not putting much into one lap qualifying. Toyotas were questionable in speed in practice. I will note that enough to where books adjusted Bell down from his early week numbers. Tire wear is going to be crucial today. I agree. And Reddick could certainly get up there and lead, but I think the early portion of this race and the fact that both Logano and Byron are top 5 finishers, I don't think the math is going to math on that for between Byron and Logano, who leads the first portion of this race, because it's going to take Reddick a while to get up there. It's still hard to pass at Phoenix. But that could be, I'm with you on Reddick. I'm with you on I think Toyotas are going to be hopefully better than they practiced. They like I said, there was question marks with them on the option tires this week, but are you fading Bell today compared to why? No. Bell has something figured out at the short flat tracks. It is, and if people are thinking about fading Bell, I love that. And I understand why. He didn't blow anybody out of the water in practice, but Bell has something figured out on these short flat tracks. He's the highest priced driver this week, so that's automatically going to kind of decrease his ownership because he's not the flat out favorite, going to dominate this race. But Christopher Bell, if he was in the championship 4 race last fall, I firmly believe he would have led well over 200 laps here at Phoenix. He won this race last year by over 5 seconds. Bell, to me, is still the guy to beat today. Blaney's going to give him a run for his money. Byron will be up there, but I still believe that Bell is the guy to beat today. And like I said when I started this stream, I think if you're going to make an early or a pre-race outright bet, Bell has good value there, sitting at plus, I believe, 750 on FanDuel, if I remember right. Matchup for fantasy, would you take Blaney over Logano? Is this for DraftKings? Just trying to take that into consideration. Most likely, yes. It's close, especially if it's DraftKings. Anywhere where you're getting fantasy points per lap led, because Logano I think has a little bit higher potential to dominate today than Blaney does. Blaney really, you look at his stats at Phoenix and really at short flat tracks in general, and he doesn't lead a ton. But obviously he's going to be a factor today. Let's see here. Yeah, so the last 2 spring races at Phoenix, he has a total of 20 fastest laps. Talking about Ryan Blaney here. And the last 2 spring races at Phoenix, he has 0 laps led. Looking at short flat tracks from last year and the last 4 Phoenix races, Ryan Blaney's laps led 0-0, 2-12, 0-0. He led 201. He led 201 laps at Iowa and 20 laps at Gateway, but we're just not seeing the dominating effort out of Blaney. So I think he's top 5 car. I think he can win this race. I just don't know if I don't know if he's there for me as a dominator. He has the place differential play though in DraftKings to be worth that 10-8 starting 12th. But yeah, I think Logano has higher dominator potential than Blaney does. And Zane Smith is notorious for practicing better than he races. Like he always seems to practice better than he actually races. He certainly doesn't have a top 5 car. I'm going to tell you that right now. Zane Smith does not have a top 5 car. I'm also a little worried that people might be overestimating Zane Smith a little bit. I wouldn't mind pivoting to Todd Gilliland over him, but I do think front row overall has pretty good speed. My projections absolutely love Noah Gragson today. So take with that, or take from that what you will. But yeah, Zane Smith, I could see him being top 20. I don't think he's a top 10 car. I don't think he's a top 10 car. Sorry, guys. I'm answering a text message quick. Take on Ty Gibbs. Man, what is going on with Ty Gibbs? I don't know. We talked about this on Stacking Denny's on Wednesday. I don't know what's going on with Ty Gibbs. He goes from being one of the best at COTA last year to just garbage this year. He's obviously that they have found no speed whatsoever this weekend. He's qualified 34th. Didn't have any speed in practice. Obviously, last fall he did not. Last fall he wrecked early here at Phoenix. But you gotta. It's one of those you have to play him. Unfortunately, if you're putting in a bunch of lineups, you have to play him. I think that's where you're at. He's starting 34th. He's in a Gibbs car. Like, let's not overthink it. There could be there. If you want to take a stand, trust me, I'm all for taking stands. I'm all for being aggressive in DFS, and I'm gonna fully fade this guy. And if Gibbs really has an awful car today, I'm gonna get my leverage there. I can see it. I can see why you would do that, but at the same time, as a general recommendation, for everybody, I would not recommend fading Gibbs, even though he does not look great today. Ty Dillon over Ty Gibbs today. I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't. Ty Dillon. If you read my driver preview for Ty Dillon today on Rotoballer, he has a decent track record here at at Phoenix. He's one of those guys that like always sneaks into the top 20. And it's not like he's in garbage equipment now. Qualified, I believe, 25th. So yeah, I would not be surprised. I don't think it's a guarantee. But I would not be surprised. Yeah, I will say, like, my projections, I don't think are really getting to Ty Gibbs today. So if I am going to get Gibbs on my lineups, I'm gonna have to force it. I'll say that. So I can understand why you almost X Gibbs out, because to me, I'd rather go Bowman. In that range, I'd rather go Busher. I really like Busher today as a pivot off of those guys in that range. We'll get to that in a little bit. But I'm definitely on, if we have chalk place differential like that on a guy that really hasn't shown anything all weekend, I'm willing to take my chances and not go super heavy on him. But getting back to this practice breakdown. So one thing I want to note here, Bubba Wallace, he goes from 6th fastest in 10-lap average and then falls off a cliff and goes 19th fastest in 15-lap average, 21st, 21st, and 20 and 25-lap average, and then back to 19th fastest in 30-lap average. To me, something happened in laps 11 through 14 or 11 through 15. Something happened to ruin his run. But people are just going to look at that and say, Bubba really doesn't have that good of a car. Qualified 19th. Here's the thing. Bubba Wallace has 3 top 10s the last 4 Phoenix races. He obviously had the speed over 10 laps. I think because of that sharp downward trend there to the 15 lap, and then it didn't continue going downward, it stayed level. I think something happened in that run. Just keep that in mind today with someone like a Bubba Wallace. I think people might not be on him. I like Bubba Wallace today. This is a good track for him. 2311 has speed this weekend. Riley Herbst has speed this weekend. Riley Herbst was really good here in the Xfinity Series here at Phoenix. I don't mind Riley Herbst today as a tournament play either. But looking at these practice times, Ryan Blaney, very strong in the long run, as was Joey Logano. William Byron and Kyle Larson looked good to me. Definitely, Larson went out later than most in practice, which helped him, I think, with the super long run speed. That's why he was so good. And if you look at his fall off, it is significantly less than everybody. And I think a big reason that is because he went out late. I don't think his car is that much better than everybody in the long run, but he has a good car. And remember, Larson qualifying, if you watch qualifying, him and Bowman both specifically hit the apron wrong and killed their laps. So Byron, if he wouldn't have hit the apron, I firmly believe Larson, if he wouldn't have hit the apron, I firmly believe he would be starting top 5 today, and we would be talking about him even more as a potential race winner. He's really good here at Phoenix. So we got him starting 17th. With place differential on DraftKings, I think you have to really like Kyle Larson today, in addition to some of those other guys. But if you're looking for a pivot, Larson, I think, is an amazing spot to pivot. If you don't want to go Bell, if you don't want to go Blaney, now obviously I have them projected higher, but if you want to pivot or if you want a tournament play, I think Larson is a good one this week that has that place differential upside. Could I be wrong and even more people are on him than I realize? Maybe, but I think a lot of people are going to gravitate toward the guys like Bell and the guys like Blaney. Busher did not make a super long run in practice. He typically doesn't. So I'm not surprised here. To me, he looks good. I bet him. FanDuel opened his top 10 at plus 170. I immediately hit it. I was happy with getting him at plus 150 at other books. But I waited. I had a feeling FanDuel might be a little bit longer. They opened him up at 43-1 to win this race. Don't forget, Chris Buescher finished second in this race a year ago. Chris Buescher is a has been a top 10, top 5 threat at Phoenix pretty much the last 2 years. So he's starting 14th, 13th. A guy that typically does not qualify well is starting 13th, showed top 10 speed in practice, and has a really good track record here. Why aren't people talking about Chris Buescher? Is it because he didn't make a super long run this week? He's in a Ford. I talked about how good Ford is on the long run with tire fall off. So now you have all of those positive things. I think Chris Buescher is a good play today. I like Chris Buescher. I bet the ladder on him, actually. I bet him top 10. I bet him top 5. I bet him to win. That's how much I like Chris Buescher. Turning to the ceiling crime, $459 win last season. Let's go get it again. Heck yeah. Let's hopefully, as a previous comment mentioned, a Rotoballer subscriber took down the big GPP last year and won the $100,000 here at Phoenix. So let's hope that happens again as well. Looking some more at practice here. Obviously, Chastain did not qualify well. He looked decent on lap times though. He has a good track record here. I think he can be top 10 today. Keselowski mentioned that Buescher and him had different setups. It's almost like they were testing this week. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. RFK was really good here last spring. They were also pretty good here last fall. Buescher's been better than Keselowski here, but they're both top 5 last spring here at Phoenix. And then now that brings into the equation Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece, where does he excel? Short flat tracks. RFK, really good here in the spring last year. At a short flat track. Ryan Preece excels at short flat tracks. Getting back to that question about potential dark horses, Ryan Preece is up there as well. Kyle Busch, I'm interested to see how he races. Obviously, did not really expect him last week. I think you can go back and pull the clip, and I said, I believe I said I really can't get there on Kyle Busch last week at COTA, and you see how that worked for me. Had the best car for most of the race. I am intrigued to see what Kyle Busch does today, because looked like he had pretty good speed over the very long run here at 30 lap average. But what I'm more in tune to and what I'm more noticing is sportsbooks are really liking Kyle Busch today. He's down to like the same odds as Kyle Larson at some places, which is a little crazy to me, especially considering our RCR has not been good here at Phoenix as of late. So, it's noteworthy. Are they overreacting to his speed last weekend? Potentially. But don't forget, the last time we had an option tire was Richmond last fall, and who won that race? His teammate, Austin Dillon. So, Chase Briscoe is going to be an interesting one today. Obviously, in a Joe Gibbs racing car, this is a good track for Joe Gibbs Racing. Should see him move up. I think he starts like 30th. But here's what I like about Christopher Bell. Like, his 10-lap average was so low. 30th best, but up to 15th best with 30-lap average. I think Bell is going to be the guy to beat again today, even though people aren't for some reason aren't fully on board. They're getting doubts. But give me a Byron early Dominator, Christopher Bell cleanup Dominator, and we'll build from there. I that's what my projections like. That's what I like. That's what my brain says. Don't mind that at all. Now let's get back to DraftKings here. Let's build some lineups. That's a good question, Andrew. Can you get away with trying to jam as many Dominators and punt to make it fit? Here's the thing. Punts typically do not work at Phoenix. And unless we get to me, the only way that's going to work is if we get super high dollar guys. That have huge place differential upside. That's how I see that working. Because there's only so many Dominator points to go around, and if they are getting spread out, that just it brings down the actual value of the points or of the drivers that are scoring them. So if we don't have someone leading, let me put it this way. So you remember the spring race last year at Phoenix? The Toyotas all like spread out and led 50, 60 laps apiece. The reason that lineup worked and that you could get away with jamming Dominators in was because they were all moderately priced. I believe, like you look at this week, like I think they were all in the mid, they were under 10K. If I remember right, I could pull back the data. I'm not going to do it right now. But here's the thing. The Dominators this week are most likely Byron, Logano, Bell, potentially Blaney. Maybe Larson gets up there. We got Reddick. These are all high-priced guys. It's not going to work. The math isn't going to math if they each lead 60 laps. You know, then you're going to need to add in the place differential points. So then that's where Larson comes more into play if it does get spread out like that. But it's going to then, the strategy of jamming in Dominators isn't going to work because most likely that's going to bring up the relevant scoring and percentage scoring. If you think of total points scored in the race, the percentage scoring of the drivers in this range, the Briscoes, the Chastains, the Bushers, the Gibbs, because they're moving up, they're moderately priced and they're moving up with place differential. So they're scoring a higher percentage of points because it's not as concentrated with one or two guys up at the top. So I don't think we can get away with jamming Dominators and going punts. Now, obviously, my projections really like John Hunter Nemechek today. I think a lot of people do. I think he's going to end up being the chalk down there. But I don't think I can get there doing a lineup with like John Hunter Nemechek and Zane Smith. And then, you know, filling in, I mean, let's just try to do it here. If you go like Byron, Bell, let's go Larson. You know, that actually almost gets you to Bowman. I could talk myself into this as I'm doing this, by the way. I've never said I'm not going to do that or that that's not going to happen. Do you trust Ricky Stenhouse Jr.? That's the question here. I'm assuming this is the kind of build you're talking about, though. You're going Byron, Bell, Larson, or something like that. Do I think this is going to be optimal? No, but does this have – if Stenhouse pulls off a random top 12 – so with this – I guess maybe I might have misread this comment because I read it as punts too. I do think we're going to need at least one guy in this range down here, but there's a lot of value mid range to build with. Yeah, if there's two Dominators, there's room for one, and honestly, there's value down there. Like I said, Nemechek, he can move up. You look at Eric Jones. You don't need a lot out of John Hunter Nemechek to hit value there at $5,300. So, yeah, like I said, I can talk myself out of my stands here. But Zane Smith, talked about him a little bit ago. You can't trust him, but he could finish top 20. I think he was running I think he had top 20 speed last year. Ran into issues because, of course, he does with Zane Smith. So last fall, he was running mid-20s, lap 250. He nailed the wall flat tire, finished 39th. Last spring, he finished 29th, 28.7 average running position. He's just not that great at these tracks. So I would rather, not even considering the fact that Zane Smith has killed me so many weeks, I would rather go with someone like Todd Gilliland, his teammate. I'd rather go with John Hunter Nemechek over Zane Smith, potentially Ricky Stenhouse Jr., potentially Ty Dillon, potentially Austin Dillon down there, potentially Riley Herbst. I'm not on the Zane Smith train today, even especially with his practice times looking so good. Like I said before, he tends to practice a lot better than he actually races. And the fact of the matter is he's not trustworthy. So if people are on him today, if a high percentage of people are on him today, I'm fine being off of him. But let's build some lineups here because we haven't done any yet. So let me agree with you. And with the speed, RCR has decent I think they turned it up a notch this year. I really do. I think, and this could be the time to buy low potentially on them. So Austin Dillon, 6 of the last 9 races here at Phoenix. Nice. He's finished between 12th and 18th. I mean, that's perfectly respectable for a guy starting 21st. Last time we were on this option tire, he won the race at Richmond. I agree. Both Dillon brothers are pretty good at Phoenix. I don't mind being on either of them. I also don't mind Riley Herbst there at 59. So, all right. So my optimal projected lineup today is Christopher Bell, William Byron, Ross Chastain, Alex Bowman. Like I said, my projections love Noah Gragson today. So it goes Gragson and then John Hunter Nemechek. You can go up to Todd Gilliland. My projections like Nemechek over Gilliland today. If I'm building by hand, I'm probably going Gilliland over Nemechek, despite the upside. I think Gilliland has a better chance of finishing top 20 than Nemechek does, and potentially sneaking into that top 15. So, like as a tournament play, I like going Gilliland, but my projections like Nemechek in this scenario. Let me see what the total difference is here. My projections have about a 7-point difference between those two, but I think this is a pretty good lineup here. So we got Bell, who, like I said, I think is going to be I think Bell's going to be the guy to beat. The more I'm looking at everything, the more I'm analyzing everything. I think people were for whatever reason talking themselves out of Bell today, and he should be. When he gets to the front, I think he could run away with it again. So looking at this build, it's relatively safe. We got the early dominator of Byron. We have what I'm calling the closer dominator kind of, or the cleanup dominator of Bell. And then place differential plays. Ross Chastain can finish top 10. Alex Bowman, probably top 20. You know, he's only back there because his qualifying effort wasn't great. Noah Gragson finished 12th in both Phoenix races last year. He starts 33rd. Front row has decent speed this week. Forwards have decent speed. And then you're playing safe there with John Hunter Nemechek. Or you could go, like I said, you could go Todd Gilliland. Shout out Gilligan. Now, you can do this lineup. You can also do the exact same lineup and go to Logano over Byron. And I'm going to enter both just so I have that exposure to both, because I don't think it's guaranteed that Byron leads 0 laps. I think it's most likely, but there's also the chance that Logano gets there, and I think Logano has a slightly better long run car than Byron, but I don't think it's massively better. But I'm gonna lock this lineup in here. And then I'm also going to do the same exact one with Logano. And then I'm gonna analyze that's a good question, Stan. What if Hocevar or Barry start the race on options? That would shake things up. I completely agree, but I understand that there's the possibility that they do that, but why would they? I don't understand why they would. I don't understand. I truly don't. Unless these teams somehow know. I think they'd be screwing themselves in the long run, because I think the reason you take the option tires is if you're starting in the back and you want to quickly get track position. But the thing is, if you go and you start your option tires early, all of a sudden you only get 2 sets. Now you're exposing yourself to when everybody else uses the option tires, and you're going to lose that track position. So what you're banking on if you do that is when everyone else, or when a majority of the teams use their first option set, because I think most people are going to save their last one for the final run of the race, unless you're gambling of trying to get track position before the final restart and then trying to hold it. But you would then need a quick caution after 20 laps to where everybody else on the option tire would put their option tire on, the restart would happen, and then there'd be a caution after 20 laps or so, and then their tires are worn enough that they would go get new tires and essentially ruin their not ruin, but I mean their first option tire is used up. Not fully used up, but they'd probably come in for new tires. So then that's where you would flip it if you were the person that did not take the option tire, or you didn't have an option tire to use to get your track position. Now everyone comes in, gets new tires, and you just have to hold off. But with Hocevar and Barry starting so far up front, I don't see a reason why they would start the race on options. I truly don't. So I acknowledge the potential that there could be some crazy stuff like that to begin with, but I don't think it's likely. I really think that the opening Dominator is going to be Byron or Logano. Chase Elliott to be low owned seems hard to get off of him or get to him. I agree. It's kind of hard. But also I'm not sure I'm seeing the upside. I'm not sure that the Dominator upside is there. He really hasn't put up fastest laps at Phoenix or flat tracks in general. So he really hasn't led laps at him. So starting 6th, I think we're going to see a Chase Elliott day where he runs 4th to 9th all day. And to me, that's not. I typically would love this position of where Chase Elliott's being underowned, but I'm not seeing the Dominator upside. So I think I don't want to be over on him. I really don't. Am I going over or under on Joey? I'm not 100% sure yet. I think Byron's too fast for me not to go with him. I really liked Hendrick's speed. Hendrick has a really good cars this week. Chastain, Bowman, Gregson, and Nemechek. Okay. So same lineup as before. I'm just switching out Byron to Logano. Okay. Let's pick a driver off of each your drivers for a GP Maybe it's because I'm tired, but I'm not quite following that one. Let me know if you can elaborate on that a little bit more. Can Barry finish top 10 today? Yes. Am I betting him at even money? No. Not. I'm not even considering it. By the way, if you did want him, DraftKings has him as plus 150. FanDuel has him as plus 145. If you did want to bet it, I think he can. I think he can finish top 10. I'm not betting him though. I think there's. What do I like about John Hunter Nemechek? His teammate is fast. He's finished between 25th and 30th every single time he's started at Phoenix. So mid-20s good, starting 36th. 11 place differential points plus a mid-20s finishing position for a driver at $5,300. I'm fine with that. Perfectly fine with that being your punt. And he's safe. Yeah. Safety of start position. I'm not expecting John Hunter Nemechek to go top 10 this week. I'm not even expecting him top 20, but you don't need it. All you need is a mid-20s finish out of him. And like I said, his teammate has speed. I think, and Nemechek tends to do decently well at shorter flat tracks. Like for him, he does decently well at shorter flat tracks. So yeah, I have no issue going heavy on John Hunter Nemechek today. I'm going to spread it out because I don't want him to be my only punt. I think there are so many good options down there that you need to spread it out. But I have no issues about John Hunter Nemechek today. Now, will he go out there and wreck lap 4? Maybe. It's John Hunter Nemechek after all. He does get into wrecks. Excuse me. Oh man, I knew that one was coming. He does tend to get into wrecks, but yeah, I'm perfectly fine running John Hunter Nemechek today in DraftKings. McDowell at 6,500. Is he starting too high for you to put in a lineup? Probably. He's good here though. To me, like cash games, you're not running McDowell. You're not even thinking about running McDowell in cash games. Do you need exposure to him in tournaments? Yeah. Do I like him better than Eric Jones? Right below him? Probably. But like he's gonna need a not just a good run today to make it worth it. Even at 6,500, he's not gonna need just a good run. He's gonna need a great run. Does Spire have speed this week? It absolutely looks like it. Will they be able to put a full race together? You know, a good run out of McDowell today is still a 12th place finish. 12th place finish ain't going to get it for you on DraftKings with him starting 7th. So I see the upside. I like McDowell. I've always been a McDowell fan. I like those little underdogs like him and DraftKings, but I doubt I'm going to get there on him today at 65. All right. Bell Logano. Okay. Pick a different driver than your original lineup that pulls in price. That's close. Okay, gotcha. So I'm going to stick. Yeah, I want to do. I'm liking this type of bill. I want to see what we can do with this. Starting with Bell, Larson, Byron, and I'm gonna force this. I'm gonna force the optimizer to do this just so I can see what my projection's like here. So if we lock in Bell, Larson, Byron. So top lineup, my projection's like if you force Bell, Larson, Byron. Is like I said, they love Gregson today. Gregson, Herbst. Man, my projections like John Hunter Nemechek, but I can get behind this right here for sure. I like that a lot. And you could, if you don't like Gregson, you can go down to Priest. If you don't like Austin Dillon, you can jump down to Todd Gilliland, Zane Smith, John Hunter Nemechek. Oh man, I like that. I like that quite a bit. Herbst. Man, I like that. I like that a lot. Locking that one in. Man, I don't know if I can get. Can someone make the argument to me for SVG today? Like, I'm not taking a firm no stance on him, but I want to hear a good argument for him. Xfinity Series last year, he finished 6th in the spring and 12th in the fall. He's never raced at a short flat track in the Cup Series. I don't know if I'm getting there on SVG. But admittedly, I'm not great at when it comes to like newer drivers. Until I get some relevant data for them in the Cup Series, like SVG is probably going to be low on my list every week for a while. That's good, Matt. That's good. Road course guys, decent at short flat tracks typically. I agree with you there. Randomness with tires, yeah. Trackhouse has been decently strong here, but seems like they're struggling this week. As much as my projections, as much as I like Chastain, I'm not fully sold on Chastain today. Kurt, SVG's a fast learner. That's for sure. I'll give you that. It's a good argument. SVG could stay clean. Yep. Adapts in race. Yes. Twelfth at Martinsville too. Chastain solid and flags. Yeah, I looking just at overall lap times yesterday and kind of taking out the outliers. Chastain was 3rd. Kyle Busch was 2nd. That could easily be why books are loving Kyle Busch so much today. Better Dominator potential, Reddick or Chastain? Ooh. Dominator potential, Reddick. Overall upside, Chastain. I think the place differential for Chastain is going to require Reddick to have like the perfect scenario of him getting to the lead and then dominating. And I think it's much more likely that Chastain just moves up and scores points. So Dominator potential for sure. Reddick slightly higher, still not high, but it's higher than Chastain. But overall potential, Chastain. I saw a comment here. Yeah, 100%. You agree. And to me, I'm going either Byron or Logano. I can almost guarantee that all these lineups will have at least one of those two. I don't see anybody else leading early. So I probably wouldn't pivot off of Bell to Logano unless I went Byron Logano. But again, I think I want the place differential play of a Bell, a Larson, Blaney to go with the Dominator potential of the other guy. So yeah, absolutely, I agree. You can pivot off of them down to Logano. Agree. Yeah, Kyle Busch odds, they're weird. I'll tell you what, and all of the books are there on them. You know, I think maybe when they opened back up, there was some discrepancies, but Caesars is at 9, DraftKings is at 8, BetMGM's at 8, FanDuel's at plus 850. Kyle Busch hasn't done he starts 15th. He looked decent in practice, pretty good in practice, but like he wasn't world beating in practice. So why? Yeah, to me, something's odd, something's off. But it's something to notice because, maybe they definitely know something that we don't, and like I said, practice speeds, Kyle Busch was top 3 and just removing the oddball practice lap times and averaging everybody's out. Kyle Busch was top 3. Oh, Bovada has Busch 18. See, I'd bite on that. I would. I'd go it. Bovada, I don't think they allow my betting at Bovada. But legal sports books or US based sports books, should I say, Bovada is completely legal. So that was a misspeak on my part. But US based sports books have Busch in that range that I was talking about before. It sucks when you're off by one driver and he's a lap or two down. Could you build something with everybody on the lead lap? I can certainly try. I'm just checking odds here on Hard Rock real quick. Yeah, Hard Rock's at 8. Because like most sports books today have the top tier of drivers. They have the Blaneys, the Bells, the Byrons, the BBB, Reddick's, Logano's, Larson, Kyle Busch, Elliott, Hamlin, and there's a huge gap down to everybody else. Huge gap down to the Briscoes and the Chastains. We should give me odds. I wish a sports book would give me the odds that the driver's last name starts with B. I think that would be a good. The winner of the race last name starts with B. I think that'd be a good bet to make. A good bet, another B word, to make today. All right. Bell, Larson, Byron, Preece. Bell, Larson, Byron, Ryan Preece, Herbst, Gill. Yeah. I mean, just off the cuff, it looks good to me. If you didn't want to go Herbst, you could go up to SVG. Didn't want to go Gilliland, Austin Dillon. I'm talking myself into Austin Dillon quite a bit right now. Not gonna lie. I know my projections don't like it. And I think this is really similar to what we just built. Just my initial had Gregson instead of Preece. And then obviously I went Austin Dillon instead of Gilliland. But that's an example of, a lineup, once again, that is just small pivots here and there, jumping down to Preece off of Gregson. And that's also one of those frustrating things because this is where, the one little pivot you have the one spot could be the guy that's a lap down and doesn't quite get you there. But it's nice to know that you're close when you're building like that. It's frustrating not to have the actual hit. I'm going to lock this one in. Bell, Larson, Byron, Preece, Herbst, Austin Dillon. I'm looking at some more lineups here that my projections like. Oh God. I forgot to take Catherine Legg out of my pool. Yeah, we're blessed with a ton of pivots. That's for sure this week. There's quite a bit of ways to go. Legg is your pick to win. I wish we get some head-to-heads with her on just like anybody. Because her goal is to finish this race. That's it. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not dogging on it, but she's only moving up if there's attrition. Bell Briscoe Gibbs. Okay. That'd be a good one. Yeah. Give me Cody Ware versus Catherine Legg. Give me some odds for that head-to-head. All right. Bell Briscoe Gibbs. Sticking with Toyota. So I'm going to throw John Hunter Nemechek in here just to stick with the Toyota gang. Actually, I'm going to go Herbst. What if we went Herbst and Nemechek? Get you up to Larson. You wouldn't have to go up to Larson. Obviously, I really like Larson today. I wish you could get Blaney. Man, I would love that if you could get Blaney in there. I don't want to go. So you could, if you wanted to go Blaney here, you could get off of. So you need an extra 200. You could either go to Ty Dillon off of Nemechek, which I guess isn't awful. Or you could go. I wish you could go down to Austin Dillon over Herbst. What if we did this? Here's the thing with punts this week. If I'm going to go 2 sub $6,000 guys this week, I want one of them to potentially sneak into the top 12. And to me, that is Riley Herbst. That is Austin Dillon. The upside for Todd Gilliland would be top 20. Maybe Ricky Stenhouse Jr. can get there. Ty Dillon is it's going to be a long shot to get there for top 20. But if I'm going 2 sub $6,000 guys, I want one of them to have the upside to potentially get up there and challenge for a surprise top 10. I'm not going 2 punts to go John Hunter Nemechek and Todd Gilliland because they're both mid-20s at best. Gilliland's his ceiling's probably more like 20th, maybe high teens, but Nemechek, for all intents and purposes, is a mid-20s guy. You're just going for those place differential points. You need, if you're gonna do 2 guys down here, you need I think you need the upside of one of them. Stenhouse, I don't know if I can get there on him. Best finish of 19th in the next gen era at Phoenix. Because I was looking if you wanted to go Blaney here. And don't get me wrong, Larson's a great pick. But you could go Austin Dillon and Stenhouse or Ty Dillon and make it work. I just don't think Stenhouse has the upside. But can he just maintain his position? Maybe sneak into the teens? I don't know. Would I rather go Ty Dillon over him? Probably not. But to me, like I said, I'm not super sold on Ty Gibbs here. So if you take Ty Gibbs out of this equation, what if we did this? I want to go Blaney. But again, I think you need an early Dominator. So I think you need to go. I completely did not realize till now that I did not have a Byron or a Logano on there. So that definitely shakes things up. So if you go Gibbs here, so sticking with the Bell Briscoe Gibbs, and yeah, that's probably where I'd go. I'd probably go Bell Briscoe, Byron, Gibbs, Austin Dillon, and Riley Herbst. And there you're going with Herbst and Dillon, you're going two guys that could potentially sneak into the top 15. You're not banking on the really low guys. I agree. I agree. Lots of great options this week. There's lots of ways to go. And the unfortunate thing is to me, the practice to me just threw in more questions than it gave answers. So could practice be right and the fast guys remain fast? Yes. Could we see a change and the Toyotas not be better than expected? Yeah, there's that as well. But to me, this definitely opens up just more questions, and I'm I'm not a huge fan of that when it comes to playing DFS. No, don't get me wrong. I'm definitely still playing. Obviously, I'm throwing lineups in, but I work today, so I won't be able to live bet. Probably won't be able to live bet, or like I'll be able to pay attention to the race, but not super close. So I'm kind of bummed about that, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So I'm gonna lock in that lineup. I'm also gonna see what. Let me do. Let's see what my optimizer likes with Bell Briscoe Gibbs here. Let's just see what it spits out. Top lineup, Bell Briscoe. Interesting. Very interesting. I don't like that. So top lineup it spits out is Bell Briscoe, Chastain, Gibbs, Gregson. Like I said, my projections are crazy high on Gregson today. I would recommend, if you are using them, to tone it down. But this is what it's saying. Bell Briscoe, Chastain, Gibbs, Gregson, Nemechek, leaving $900 on the table. Again, I do not agree. Just my, not common sense, but just like I would never get there hand building. I really wouldn't. But you can definitely move things around here. Like you could go up to Hamlin off of Chastain. You could go up to Reddick. If you really wanted to go Toyotas here, look at this. Bell Briscoe, Reddick, Gibbs, Bubba, and John Hunter Nemechek for a full Toyota lineup. My only problem here is, you guessed it, where's your Dominator? I think you're leaving too much on the table here by not going Byron Logano. But for shits and giggles, I am going to put this lineup in, because who's to say that Byron doesn't lead the first 60? Like, there's also this possibility, and this is why I can understand why people would want to fade a guy like William Byron, a guy like Logano, because what if Byron leads first 70 laps, blows a tire, nails the wall, he's out of the race? You know, those 70 laps led and fastest laps are pretty much worthless now because of the negative place differential. And now, who's going to dominate? Is Reddick going to jump up there and fill in? So just to have a non-Byron, non-Logano lineup here, I am going to go Bell, Reddick, Chase Briscoe, Ty Gibbs, Bubba Wallace, I can find him here. There we go. And John Hunter Nemechek. All right. Would you pair Byron with Logano, Bell, Blaney, or Larson? Please rank the order. Thanks. To me, it's hard to get. It's going to take the perfect scenario for Byron and Logano to be in the optimal. So Logano's on the bottom of the list for me. Do I think the potential is there? Yes. We could see them both lead 90 laps. We could. Is that the most likely scenario? No. So do I want the safety net of having place differential with these other guys? Yes. Because they all have Dominator potential. So pairing, as far as pairing goes, if you're sticking with Byron, I'd probably go Bell. So in order, Bell, Larson, Blaney. Like, you could flip those two, but I'd probably go Bell, Larson, Blaney, Logano. Larson and Blaney are close. I think Bell's the highest scoring driver on this slate today. A lot of people asking about Zane Smith, which has me thinking that he's going to be pretty popular pick today. Which means I'm most likely going to be underweight on him, and that means he's going to win people a bunch of money today, because he does the opposite of what I need him to do every single time I take a stand. But Zane Smith, I would not get his practice speeds are noteworthy, but I wouldn't put all your stock into them. Zane Smith, I don't think has a top 10 car today. I think he's about a mid-20s driver, top 20 upside. But I wouldn't be shoving Zane into your lineups based off of practice speeds, as well as his track, as well as his history, just his history as a driver. He always practices better than he races, and he seems to screw up a lot. So I'm not just jumping on the Zane train today, because of that. I'm going to lock this lineup in. That all Toyota lineup there. What do you think about those EW bets on Bet365? I took Blaney on it. I probably don't bet him as much as I should. I know my friends, we have a little betting group, and one of them likes to bet those EWs. I just never think to, but I do like them. Like I said, I probably should bet them more. I like that with Blaney though, because does he finally get over the hump and win here? Like he's been so good here, Hasn't been dominant, but he's been so good here where he's just like to me, he's a shoe-in for top fives for sure. Okay. Okay. Mini max total percentage for Phoenix Next Gen Optimals range from 115 to 179. All right. Blaney, Briscoe, Chastain. Okay. All starting outside the top 12, like I will say I'm not as sold on Chastain as my projections are. I'm also not completely sold on Briscoe. I'll probably regret that. I should be higher on Briscoe. I don't think Blaney has the Dominator upside. So if I was going to do this, I think I'd go down. I mean, I'd definitely go down to Byron. But if you didn't want to go Byron here or Logano, I'd go with one of them. If you didn't want to, I'd probably jump up to Bell off of Blaney. To me, with this, I can't see. I don't think Blaney truly dominates this race over Bell, over Logano, over Byron. It's going to take a lot for Blaney to be the dominator of this race. Larson has plenty of room to get up there. Yeah, he's going to have to make some moves to get up and dominate. Do I think he can dominate? Yes. But again, you're not with this build right here. You don't have an early dominator, which I don't like. So if I was going to do this, I'd come off of Blaney. I'd probably go down to Byron. If you didn't want to do that, I'd go up to Bell. I think Bell has a better chance. But if you go down to Byron, it leaves you 800. You could let's see what we can do. I mean, you have plenty of room to do whatever you'd like here. If you wanted to go, I was thinking something like this. If you wanted to go up to Bell, I'd come off of Chastain and hell, maybe even go Kyle Busch here. Again, you don't have the early dominator though. So I would probably go down to Byron here, Byron Larson, Briscoe. And then I'd probably cut off one of these punts and go a more centralized route the rest of the way. So if you cut off John Hunter Nemechek, you grab an Alex Bowman. Actually, let's go back to John Hunter Nemechek. And then I know people are going to automatically go Suarez here, but I think I'd rather go Bubba. I really do. I think Bubba can run top 10 today. He's good at this racetrack. So I know I kind of blew up your initial lineup here quite a bit, but honestly, if I think that's how I would end up doing it, is go Byron Larson, and that gets you have no Bell or Blaney there, but you have the chalk place differentials of Briscoe and Bowman. So basically what you're doing here is you're pivoting off of Bell and Blaney onto Larson, which I talked about in my article, as I do like that as a pivot play. But I think you need the dominator of Byron to go along with him, or the dominator of Logano. So That's probably how I do this one. I know, like I said, I kind of blew it up a little bit, but if I was going to build like that, that's how I'd do it. That's actually the first time we've talked about Alex Bowman in a little bit. I also considered, and I'll get back to it, but I also considered Kyle Busch there off of Chastain. It's very hard hand building, and even using an optimizer, it's tough without clicking Byron or Logano. I just don't. It's hard for me to imagine a race where they're not, one of them isn't in the optimal. To be completely honest with you guys. Okay. Favorite place differential plays. There's a lot of chalk today. Bowman chalk, perfectly fine with it. My projections, love Noah Gragson today. Love Noah Gragson today. I have concerns about Ty Gibbs. Do I think he's a top 20 car? Yeah, but I'm not loving where his speed's been at this weekend. Not loving that he qualified 34th either. Obviously, the chalk place differential, like you have to have exposure to him. But 8,200, I think there's room to pivot off of him. Low dollar place differential guys. I like John Hunter Nemechek. Briscoe. Sorry, I keep forgetting about Briscoe. Briscoe starting 30th is a great place differential play. Larson starting 17th, very good place differential play. He has a good car. He just messed it up in qualifying. There's a lot of place differential plays today. I'm kind of just going kind of in my order. Chastain, my projections really like. I can see being under on him, me being under on him. But those are the main place differential plays, and then you get down to, or up to, I guess, like Bell and Blaney. Like there's some place differential upside there, and then they have the Dominator upside with them. But definitely back in the back, Briscoe, Bowman, Gragson, solid place differential plays. Low dollar place differential. I'm on John Hunter Nemechek today. I can get there on Ty Gibbs just to have exposure, but I don't love it. Ryan Preece could move up. I could see him having a good run. Josh Berry and Carson Hocevar Dominator potential. I think it's Hocevar intrigues me more than Berry. Obviously, Berry has the Penske affiliation. I think the most likely scenario for both of these guys is that they run up where they start. I would put the chances of them actually dominating 10%, maybe. You got two really good guys up there in Byron and Logano, and I don't see Josh Berry or Carson Hocevar getting around him or having the car to get around him over a long run. So I don't think it's likely. I think it's much more likely that these guys kind of ride around. Like they had great qualifying efforts, they had good practice speeds, but it's much more likely that they sit there and ride around, in the top 5, in the top 10 for a lot of the race, as opposed to dominating. Okay, how about a Byron Logano lineup? Both drivers starting on the front row have been optimal in 2 of the last 10. Yeah, and I think you have to have the exposure or have to have the lineups of doing both. I think the issue is do you end up going Bell with them, or Blaney with them, or Larson with them, or do you go more centralized? And you can go both ways, and I like both ways. But yeah, we can do some lineups here with both Byron and Logano. My optimizer spits out top lineup spits out Bell, Gregson, Priest, and John Hunter Nemechek. You probably already know where my mind's going here, though. Instead of Priest and Nemechek, like, I don't mind this build. I'm gonna put it in, but I think there's a lot of ways you can go here, and I want to do a few lineups with Logano and Byron here in it. So we got Logano, Byron, Bell, Gregson, which, like I said, my projections love. John Hunter Nemechek, the safe place differential play. Teammate has speed. And then Priest, RFK has shown speed here. Priest excels on short flat tracks, starts 28th. Don't hate Priest. Okay. So we'll lock that one in before we flip it around a little bit. So going back, we got Bell, Logano, Byron. Okay, the last one went Gregson, Priest, Nemechek. What if we go Herbst, Austin Dillon? You can go Suarez, you can go Gregson. You know, my choice here is Gregson. But I should probably have Suarez exposure, right? I shouldn't just automatically. I mean, I'm going to have a ton of Gregson exposure just based on what my optimizer is going to do for me. So yeah, let's go Suarez. Suarez is probably. I'll be honest with you guys. Suarez is probably a guy I'm overlooking. I haven't had enough of him. But so that's another version of that build that you could go. So you go Bell, Logano, Byron, Herbst, Austin Dillon, Suarez. So you got the place differential upside with Suarez starting 31st. Herbst and Dillon, you're hoping that they finish top 15, which I don't. To me, they're pivots, they're tournament plays. Again, these are tournament lineups. We're not building cash lineups here. So keep that in mind. Austin Dillon. And then like I said, Suarez, or you got Byron as your dominator, Logano as your potential second dominator, and I think Bell gets up there and probably wins this race. So another lineup there. Now, if we're not going Bell, if we go Logano, Byron, my second highest projected lineup is Logano, Byron, Chastain, Bowman. Like I said, Gregson, and man, this leaves a ton of, like, this is my second highest projected when you're stuffing in Logano and Byron, but it's going up to Nemechek. I'm not getting there. To me, I would rather go. I'd rather go Bubba and Herbst, or Bubba and Austin Dillon. rather than the Gregson and John Henry Nemechek. So Byron, Logano, and again, this is the non-Christopher Bell or non-Larson or non-Blaney lineup. So Logano, Byron, Chastain, Bowman. So you got those two chalkier place differential plays there. You got Bubba Wallace, who I think is going to be under-owned this week compared to how he typically runs here. And then Riley Herbst, who rookie driver, people don't trust, but he has a good track record here in Xfinity. I'm willing to take a risk on him there at 5,900 in the Toyota. Obviously, Toyotas have been very fast here at Phoenix recently. Sticking here with, let's go Larson, Logano, Byron, Suarez, Gregson, Nemechek. So many ways you can go. See, to me, there's an interesting choice to be made with a lot of these builds that I'm landing on. The lower two guys, I'm either landing on like a Gregson and a John Hunter Nemechek, but that could easily be swapped to Herbst and Dillon. And I'm landing on Herbst and Dillon a lot more than I probably thought I was going to when I started this stream. But Gregson, Nemechek is 12-1, and Herbst and Dillon is 11-7. So it gives you more flexibility depending on what you want to do with the build. Looking through some of these other projected lines here. All right, here's one. Logano, Byron, because I saw your Andrew, I saw your comment. Kind of think Reddick's getting overlooked. I don't disagree. 26 fastest laps and 68 laps led last spring. A lot of that is due to the fact, I believe he started near the front, didn't he? And I will note, Reddick, if you're in my premium, or if you're in the Rotoballer premium Discord, I mentioned Reddick earlier this week, and that's why I bet him 15-1, was because he was popping in my early algorithm before practice and qualifying. He went down a notch after practice and qualifying, but not a ton. Like, I still like Reddick. So I agree with you that he's probably getting a little overlooked, but going back to that race, he started 6th. That's a good point. So going back to and why I brought this this comment up. So if you go Logano, Byron, you could go. I actually like this lineup. I think you can go Reddick, Busher, who we have not built around here yet, and this lineup is going Priest, Nemechek. Obviously, as I've said, my projections really like Nemechek today. I would probably go Herbst, Austin Dillon, just because I'm stuck on that. If you go Herbst, and Custer would be an Interesting play today. Another guy we have not really talked about, but he has a decent track record here. That would definitely be a tournament play if you went up to Custer. To me, I'd rather go Austin Dillon though. Fastest laps per race. You can get the post race reports. There's a lot of sites that post them. If you have access to the media site, that they have those in there. That's actually what I was going to look up. Was comment there. Last year, not one car that wasn't a Toyota had any fastest laps in the spring. Blaney had 9. Byron had 13. Buescher had 9. Keselowski had 3. Chase Elliott had 7. Gregson had 4. Priest had 11. The majority of the fastest laps in the spring, yes, were Toyotas. But there was also a handful of non-Toyotas that had fastest laps. Zane Smith had 10. I think he was on a different pit strategy at one point. Hocevar had 4. So Price Picks has some great lines for fastest laps. I don't think Prize Picks. I'm in Ohio. I don't think I can play Prize Picks. Last I checked. Oh, interesting. Last I checked, I wasn't able to play Prize Picks, but maybe I am. This seems to. Seems to show that I can. I'm gonna have to check that out. I don't really want to do it here live on stream. If anybody has, I don't know if they have like referral codes or anything. But DM me on Twitter if you have a good one or something. It looks like I can play this now. So I'm gonna have to check that out. What is Oh no, I can only play in Ohio. I can only play Streak, free to play. So I can't even put actual money on this. I know I just said I wasn't going to do this here on the stream, but I kind of Yep, I'm on the west side. Like I'm the Indiana border is about 10 minutes away from me, and I'm right in the center of the state. So Massillon is Massillon's about a 3-hour drive from me. Yeah, I'll have to check this out when I get more time. I don't know if I can play it though. If I can, I'm gonna definitely do it. But going back to this line, if you go Byron, Logano, Reddick, And if you go Herbst here, I was hoping to get up to Briscoe. I'd like that line, man. If we could get Briscoe on there, but you'd have to come off of Austin Dillon or Herbst and go down to Gilliland. Unless you did John Hunter Nemechek and Cole Custer. That'd be a weird one, wouldn't it? Or SVG if you wanted to go SVG. Like I said, I'm not really there on SVG. I think I'd rather roll the dice on Custer than SVG. Yeah, I'm going to roll this one with Custer and Nemechek. I'm not in love with it, but just one more here with Logano and Byron in the same line before we move on to something else. So Logano, Byron, Reddick, Briscoe. Actually, let me come off of Briscoe, go down to Busher. Come off of Reddick, go down to Briscoe. Gives you an extra 800 to play with. Oh, come on. Get you to Suarez. I think I like that one better. Maybe. I don't know. As you can tell, I'm not super sold on Reddick as much as I probably should be. I'll stick with what I originally had. I'm going to go, yeah. Byron, Logano, Reddick, Cold Custard, John Hunter Nemechek, Chase Briscoe. Okay. Yeah, similar. Yeah, that looks similar to what we were just doing. Logano, Byron, Reddick. Yep. Bowman, Grigson. Yeah, you can go Herbst or Dillon there for sure. I am talking myself into Austin Dillon so much today. Oh, man. If you want something like this, you could do a Larson, Byron, Reddick, Bowman, Priest, Austin Dillon line. Cut down to Priest or come off of Priest, come up to Herbst. You can get off of Bowman and go up to Kyle Busch or Busher. That's interesting. I'm going to roll with this. Larson Byron, Reddick Busher, Herbst, Austin Dillon. You could also do the same line here of maybe we did it. Did we do this before? Larson, Byron, Briscoe, Chastain. This sounds familiar. Herbst, Austin Dillon. Did we do that one? Wasn't that one? Yeah, Larson, Byron. Nope, that one was with Bowman. Briscoe. There are so many ways to go this week. Don't love it, but Bell, Byron, Busher, Chastain, Herbst, Austin Dillon. Is Barry too risky? He seems to stick around in races like this. Just want a mid play that won't be multiple laps down. I'm not paying $7,600 for Josh Berry starting fourth because he's probably not going to finish there. So he's probably not going to finish there, and he's probably not going to dominate much, if at all. So at $7,600, I can't get there. A good race for him, he's going to finish top 10. If he finishes 10th, that's minus 6 points for place differential. A 10th place finish equals 34 points. So now you're at 28 points for a $7,600 driver, obviously not including any laps led or fastest laps, which, like I said, I don't see him getting many. So I would be more apt to take a shot with Barry if he was 5,600 compared to 7,600. I cannot get there at 70. I will not. I can guarantee I won't have any Josh Berry exposure. But we'll look at this lineup here and see what it looks like. So starting off good, Byron, Blaney, Busher. Like the Busher pick. I really like Busher today. I'm going to keep Berry off of here for now. Bubba Wallace, Riley Herbst, and just see what we can do here instead of Berry. So if you wanted to play safe here, I think you could go Suarez. If you didn't want to go Bubba, you could jump up to Bowman. I think Bubba's a better tournament play. This gives you $500 to work with. If you didn't want to go Blaney, you could jump up to Bell if you wanted to. I think Bell's a better play than Blaney. To me, I'd probably want to try to get more into that maybe off of Suarez into the 8K range. Tournament-wise, I think this is decent. A chalkier play would be going up to Gibbs and then grabbing John Hunter. So Byron, Blaney, Busher. Like I said, my issue with Blaney today is I don't know if he gets the Dominator point. I think he's going to finish top 5. I just don't know if he gets a Dominator point. So I think I'd rather go Larson for the place differential and potential Dominator point upside, because Larson starts 5 spots further back. But ideally, I'd like to get up to Christopher Bell. But if you're stuck on having Blaney, I don't have an issue with this lineup at all. Man, this is close. I was gonna say, if you could jump down to Larson and then $100 short of grabbing Kyle Busch, that would be an interesting lineup if you could pull it off. You would have to come off a Nemechek here and go down to Stenhouse probably. If you did want to stick with Nemechek, you could get off of Bubba, come down to Suarez. I don't mind going both routes here though. So I'm going to go, Byron, Larson, Busher. I need to get more Busher lines in. Kyle Busch, again, he's a wild card today. Bubba and Stenhouse. With Stenhouse, you're just hoping he stays on the lead lap, and then late restart jumps up to like 15th. That's what you're hoping for with him. Starting 22nd, his upside isn't great. He's about a 20th place car here at Phoenix most times. So you're not expecting the world. But what if we jump down off of, do that same line, go Byron, Larson, Kyle Busch, Busher. Oh, what if we... I was hoping I'd be able to get up to Gregson there. I don't mind Priest. I don't get me wrong, I don't mind Priest. I think Gregson's better though. And do I even have a Priest lineup? I have 2 Priest lineups. So yeah, this build intrigues me though with Kyle Busch and Busher. I don't want to go too crazy on it. But I don't mind here going Byron, Larson, Kyle Busch, Busher, Austin Dillon, Ryan Preece. Okay. Stenhouse 27-1, top 10 on FanDuel. I mean, is that something like, just to be clear, Stenhouse is not great here. Next gen car, he's been about a 20th place car. With that being said, is there always the potential to jump up and finish top 10 with the right strategy? So looking back, Stenhouse had top 10s here in 2017. When did they repave and reconfigure Phoenix? Time is a all right. 2018. So anything before 2018 is, or was it debuted in 2019? Anyway, Stenhouse 0 top 10s in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 or 17 races. 27 to 1. If you want to throw, I'm not gonna be mad, or I'm not gonna discourage anyone from throwing $5 or $10 on that. 27 to 1. If I feel like having a long shot, that's certainly not going to make my betting card today. I'll say that. FanDuel has Larson down to 7. Byron up to 850. Yeah, that one definitely sticks out as a potential. Like, you got John Hunter Nemechek at 10, but you have Stenhouse at 27. Make that make sense. Yeah, and like DraftKings has him at 9, BetMGM at 8. Like I said, if you don't mind throwing away $5-10, there's certainly worse things to do with your money than root for a Ricky Stenhouse top 10. All right, Bell, Byron, Bowman, Suarez, Nemechek, Cobb. Interesting. You could also go off of Suarez and go up to Bubba if you wanted to do that. I do like that build, Bill, right there. I would probably I'll probably do both. Do a Byron Bell, Kyle Busch, Bowman, Suarez, Nemechek, and then just do the same one with Bubba. Hell, you could even jump down to what if you go Gregson there? All right, you go Bell, Byron, Bowman, Kyle Busch, Gregson. That's what I thought. Austin Dillon. Again, I've talked myself into Austin Dillon a little too much today, I believe. But you'll have days like those. I like this one a little bit better, though. Go Gregson and Austin Dillon. And Bowman. And again, I really like Buescher in this price range. So if you go Bell, Byron, Buescher instead of Kyle Busch. Could go Kez. I know we haven't really talked about Kez much, but obviously I like Busher. A build like this, though, you're relying on Bell and Byron to be the dominators. If he did this, and I do like Busher in DFS today. I wrote him up. I've talked about him extensively here. I also have bets on him, so this allows me to kind of hedge. I can with these lineups. I don't have a lot of Busher. I have a bet on him, so if he does well, I'll hit the bet. And I'm kind of hedging. We've talked about that on Stacking Denny's before. How if you're in that position with bets, you can hedge a bit here. But Christopher Bell, William Byron, Tyler Reddick, Gregson, Suarez, Herbst, or Austin Dillon, depending on what you're thinking. Yeah, I've done 3 lineups so far on Reddick or with Reddick. And then I have him here as well. There's upside there for sure with Reddick. Suarez. And we the discussion here is he has the potential to be overlooked today. All right. If you have any comments, any lineup starters to go with, throw them in the chat here. We got 3 lineups to go, and I got to get going. Damn, it's already been over 2 hours on here. I have too much fun doing these. Thank you all. As always, thank you all for joining in. If you haven't, rotoballer.com, use code Jordan25. You're going to get my premium content, all my projections, algorithm predicted finishing order, my bets. Betting card has been on fire to start out the year. Ended up so far through the first 3 races plus 12 units, dating back to the start of 2024 plus 79 units. So I think that using code Jordan25, if you get the full package, you take the discount. It's $130 for all my content for the rest of the year. I think it can easily pay itself off in 1 or 2 races. So rotoballer.com, use code Jordan25 if you want to support me. But let's do some more lineups here. I don't have a ton of Blaney and I don't have a ton of Chastain. I'm not getting too Chastain on my hand builds, even though my projections are really liking him. So as I said earlier, my optimal projected is Christopher Bell, William Byron, Ross Chastain, Alex Bowman, Noah Gragson, and John Hunter Nemechek. I really like Austin Dillon and Herbst this week. Yeah, Gibbs is either going to wreck your day or make you money. I don't know. I'm personally low on Gibbs today, but I understand why he's chalk. I mean, he's starting 34th. He's $8,200. You don't need a ton out of him. He's in a Toyota. Toyotas are strong here at Phoenix. I understand why people want to go with him. I'm personally just going to be underweight on him. How about a lineup with only one driver under 7K? Interesting. I'm going to throw Nemechek in here just to start with, just to have that placeholder. So I'm definitely starting with Byron at 10. I think Chastain's a good value there at 88. Give me Bowman. Brisk. I'd probably just roll this, to be honest with you. Byron Reddick, Briscoe, Chastain, Bowman, and Stenhouse. Obviously, I'd prefer to go to Nemechek down there, but man, my neck is killing me. I'm fine with not. I'm fine with doing this. Where else could you go? If you could also go, if you didn't want to go Stenhouse, come off of Bowman. It's like I said, Bowman is like a safe play, top 20, but Suarez has a better track record here. So go Suarez and then go Herbst or Dillon. I probably like that build better. I'd probably go Dillon. Yeah. I think I like that one the best with only one guy under 7K. Yeah, Byron, Reddick, Briscoe, Chastain. Daniel Suarez. Austin Dillon. What if you did this? You could also go, what if you go Bell, Byron, Chastain, Bowman, Suarez, Nemechek. I'm going to roll that one as well. There are so many ways you can go today with these lineups. And I think it's one of those weeks where you need to evaluate and take some stands and just roll with it. I'm not really getting there on Hamlin today. I probably should. But he's one I'm over. I know for a fact I'm just overlooking. Obviously, he's really good at short flats. It's hard with him at 97, though. Like I'd rather have Reddick at 92 for sure over Hamlin. Going through some of my top projected here today for this final. If you have any starter drivers or any lineups you want me to pick through, throw them in the chat. But again, I think William Byron leads the early portion of this race. Logano has a chance of getting it. Yeah, Hendrick stack. I think Hendrick's going to be good. Like Hendrick stack can definitely work. You have Larson who can win this race starting 17th. Byron as your early dominator. Bowman as the place differential play. I'm not there on Chase. I don't think. It's still tough to pass here at Phoenix. And really that's what a lot of people I think are forgetting. Obviously if drivers are on different tires, that opens the door for easier or more likely passing. But if they're on the same tires, it's going to be tough to pass here. It's been like that with this next gen car. Nothing's going to change. So that's another reason why I think you need a Byron or a Logano in your lineup. Bell's not going to get to the lead. Blaney's not going to get to the lead. Larson's not going to get to the lead quickly. It's just not going to happen. So I think you need the buy. I love going pole sitter today. Whether you, or front row at least. I truly believe you need either a Larson or a Logano, potentially even both. Obviously, we built some lineups that had both today, but I really like Larson, and I don't mind the Hendrick build at all. Hendrick build going Larson, Byron, Bowman leaves you plenty of room to roll with here. Even if you went Chastain. If you grabbed Austin Dillon and then Suarez, you go a full Chevy lineup like that. I don't hate that at all. So we got 2 hours till lock. Again, if you have any questions, if you have any lineup ideas, throw them in chat. I'll probably be on here for a few more minutes. Got one more lineup to build, and then I got to get going, finalize the rest of my lineups, and get ready for this race. Like I said, I have to work today, so kind of moving things around, and hopefully it's a good race. I'm hoping the option tire is as big of a difference as we're hoping. I know I don't have enough Ryan Blaney in these lineups. I only have 2. I don't even know if I have 2. No, I don't. Well, I haven't built a single Blaney lineup today. That could be a problem. But I'm so much heavier on Bell today than I am Blaney. Logano, Blaney, Cindric. Hey, there we go. Go Penske here. So if you go Nemechek there, it gives you 81 for the last two average. Busher or Gibbs, last driver. Honestly, I'd go Busher. Tournament wise, I'd go Busher. If you want to play it safe, Gibbs is the play, but I really like Busher compared to everybody else today. Logano, Blaney, Cindric. Not in love with it, but it's a way you could go. Logano, Blaney, Busher, Cindric. Cindric makes it tough to build this line because of his price. 75 is a tough little price range there. So I don't know if I'd get to Cindric starting with Logano, Blaney. But if you're going Team Penske, I'd probably go Logano, Blaney, Cindric, Busher, Bowman, Nemechek. If you wanted to come off of Bowman down to if you go like a Gregson, I actually might like that better if you go down to Gregson over Bowman. I'm talking myself out of Bowman more and more as the stream goes on. Don't get me wrong, I think he's a very safe option for cash games, but I'm talking myself out of him. Yeah, and you could go Nemechek Reddick there. Or everybody's favorite, Zane Smith. What if you did this, though? Give me Chastain and then Herbst or Dillon. I think I'd rather go that. I'd rather go Logano, Blaney, Cindric, Gregson, Chastain, and then personally, I'd rather go Austin Dillon, but I don't mind going Riley Herbst either. But again, I don't think I can get there on Cindric today. But yeah, I'd probably do that instead of going the Bowman route. I'd probably go Gregson. Have we done a Bell Blaney lineup? I don't remember. No, I haven't done any Bell or any Blaney lineups yet. Let's do that. Let's cap this stream off with a Blaney Bell lineup. Instead of Logano, I'm going to go Byron. Again, I think I would rather go Larson than Blaney today. Maybe something like that. Maybe go a Byron, Blaney, Bell, Gillen, Gregson, Austin Dillon. My highest projected with forcing Bell and Blaney is Bell, Blaney, Chastain, Bubba, Noah, and Nemechek. Second highest has Bell, Blaney, Byron, Gregson, Todd Gilliland, and John Hunter Nemechek. Obviously has John Hunter Nemechek over Austin Dillon today. I personally like Austin Dillon a little bit more. Just talking here, but safer route would be John Hunter Nemechek. And then I think obviously to limit my exposure, I'd probably go Nemechek because I have so much Austin Dillon already. Could also, if you didn't want to go Gregson, you could go Preece. Herbst. I don't know if you have to dig down or go down to Gilliland though. I'm not, as much as I want to be sold on him, I don't know if I am this week. But I'm going to lock that one in. So Byron, Bell, Blaney, Priest, Herbst, and Todd Gilliland. Where's Gilly? All right. One last call for any last questions. Coming up on 2.5 hours live here. Thank you all for tuning in. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, throw them in the chat real quick, and I'll get to them before I get off of here. But as always, thank you all for tuning in. I do truly appreciate it. And like I said, yeah, you have too much John Hunter Nemechek. Yeah, I mean, my projections love John Hunter Nemechek today. His teammate has speed. Nemechek is probably like a high 20s, mid 20s guy. So I have no problem with the safer John Hunter Nemechek. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. As always, rotoballer.com, use code Jordan25. It's going to take 30% or 25 or 30% off. You'll get the rest of, if you get the top package, you'll get the rest of my content, premium content for the rest of the year. The optimizer, everything we have to offer. You're also going to get our F1 content for $130. I'm biased, but I don't think I'm super biased when I say I think that is an amazing deal. $130 rest of the year. My betting card will probably very easily could pay for your subscription in 1 week. We're plus 12 units to start out the year. Hit Bell live 25-1 at Atlanta. Hit Bell live 6-1 at Coda last week. Hit Todd Gilliland 11-1 top 10 at Coda last week. We're off to a hot start. I think we're going to continue it. And yeah, thank you guys for the support as always. Rotoballer.com, use code Jordan25. Check out all my content there. We have a lot of great free content as well. We have one of our NASCAR writers, Sean. He puts out a free DraftKings article as well, in addition to my premium content that's behind the paywall. Obviously, my projections are behind the paywall. My algorithm predicted finishing order is behind the paywall. We also have driver previews for every single driver every single week. Those are free. It's under driver news on the website. So yeah, make sure you check it out. Rotoballer.com. Use code Jordan25. Follow me on Twitter, Fan Racing Online. I know a lot of you are probably watching on there, but yeah, thank you guys very much for tuning in. We'll be back next week for Vegas. I'm actually going to be in Vegas next weekend. I just finalized all my travel. I'm going to be going to the race. Just decided to grab a plane ticket the other day and head out to Vegas. I think I'm going to hit the truck race, maybe the Xfinity race, and definitely the Cup race. So the live stream next week will be from Vegas. I might have to do it Sunday night or Saturday night. Have not decided yet. Just kind of depends on what the time looks like, how busy I am, what else I have going on, when I need to leave to get to the track, everything like that. But there will be a live stream next week from Las Vegas. And then, yeah, if you're going to the race, hit me up. We can have a beer or something. I'll be in Vegas for the weekend. So good luck to everybody this weekend at Phoenix, or today at Phoenix. Like I said, I think Christopher Bell, I don't know why, but I think people are sleeping on him a little bit today, despite how good that car is on short flat tracks and how good he was last year. Blaney should be in play. Byron should lead a ton of laps. And there's lots of ways to build this week. there's lots of guys that could be, and not even talking about or mentioning the option tire so far, but we have that potential screwball or curveball, not screwball, curveball to throw in there with the option tires today. So good luck to everybody at Phoenix. Enjoy the race. And yeah, good luck. Like I said, rotoballer.com, code Jordan25. Thank you all for tuning in. See you guys.